Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition is Alf, brought to us by Sega. Yep, Alf, based on the TV show of the same name. You play as Alf, and you're trying to get into space in order to go visit your girlfriend on Mars. The game is extremely clunky, has one-hit deaths, and doesn't even have complete animations for Alf turning around. But here we go with Alf for the Sega Master System. There's no opening storyline to the game or anything. Once you press start and go in, you're going to start off by heading to the left, then jumping on the counter, grabbing the cat, opening the fridge, and grabbing the salami. You have to make sure that you quickly jump back to the kitchen island in order to avoid the grabby hand agent guy. Then enter into the next hallway, enter the center door into the basement, and summon the cat by pressing the action button in order to get rid of the rat inside, and then you can head down the stairs and head into the secret cave area. You're then going to use the salami in order to bat the bats so that they will get out of your path so that you can move along the cave. A little whiles in, you'll come to a shack. The bridge near you will break for some reason, and inside the shack will be a gold nugget. Once you have the gold nugget, jump on top of the shack and head back to the right through the cave. Now you can take a shortcut by having Alf die. If you get hit at all by any enemy in the game, you will instantly die as it's one-hit death. But it allows for some shortcuts. The problem is, the second time you have to come to the cave later on is much farther, and it's much easier to get hit by one of the bats, so if you end up getting hit then, you'll start back at the beginning of the cave. But if you want some quick shortcuts, getting hit and killed is actually one way to do so in Alf. Head back up the stairs from the basement, and now head left. Go through the living room, out the front door, and into the streets. Here you're going to have to watch out for speeding motorcycles or bikes, along with some more of those grabby hand agent type guys, and work your way over to the left until you come to the general store. Once you make it to the general store, be sure to buy the key and then exit out. You don't need to buy the other objects there. They also sell the salami there, so if you want to buy it there instead of getting it from the fridge, I guess you could, but obviously much easier to just get it from the kitchen. The world of Alf in the game actually does just go around, so if you kept heading all the way to the left, you'll eventually circle back to the very first screen of the game. Now head back inside the house, head into the door located here, the right door of the 3-door hallway, and go into the closet, which seems like the door you may have just entered from, but it's actually the closet, and it contains the swimsuit. Head back to the living room and enter through the door, and then you can actually jump inside of the lake or pond to the right, and since you have the swimsuit, you can actually swim. If not, you would end up dying if you ended up trying this. While swimming down, you have to watch out for deadly catfish, like actually cats as fish, scuba divers who are trying to spear you, evil tentacles, and even a giant clam at the bottom of this area which will try to grab you. Go over to the right and grab the treasure chest and then continue your way down. You'll notice an oxygen meter in the upper left corner of the screen. If that, of course, depletes, you will end up dying. But if you get into one of those light blue areas, as you can see kind of right there, they work as air pockets so that you can refill your oxygen. At the very bottom, if the giant clam is open, you can grab the pearl. Do not try to go to the clam if it's still closed. You'll just end up dying as the clam will end up crunching down on you, I guess. Either way, then work your way back up, making sure to replenish your oxygen because there's no way you'll be able to make it from top to bottom and then back to the top without refilling at least once. Also though, just like with the cave, if you want to take a shortcut, you can end up dying at any point during this and you'll start back at the very top of the water area, so it'll definitely help you out if you're trying to speed along the game. Once you do so, go back into the house and now head back outside to the left and work your way along the street. You're going to have to go quite a distance and make your way over to the 5 and Dime store. Now when we make it to the 5 and Dime, we're going to sell the pearl that we got at the bottom of the water area and buy ourselves the lantern so we can see in the other portion of the cave. If you try to go to that portion without the lantern, it's just a black abyss and you'll fall to your death with Alf saying, "Hey, I should have brought a lantern." There's also the Alf book located in the 5 and Dime. Do not buy the Alf book. It will give you a cute little story, but then the game kicks you back to the main menu, which makes no sense, but it's basically an instant game over, and just developers laugh at you pretty much. Either way, once you have the lantern in your inventory, head back over to the left. As you'll see, you'll loop back to the very first screen of the game, head back through the kitchen, be careful of grabby guys, he can appear here, and then head back into the basement and back into the cave. Work your way over to the left like we did before, batting any of the bats once again with a nice piece of salami, as you're trying to make your way past that first little shack house that we found earlier and make it to a second one located much farther into the cave. Now, unlike the first time I came to the cave though, I will use the shortcut of dying in order to make it back through. Now right here, you'll notice of course the bridge doesn't come back, so you'll have to make a nicely timed jump, and the game kinda glitches, but either way you can actually somehow make it to the top platform and be able to continue along your way. Right here is the tightest area of the cave, and there's a lot of bats that like to spawn here, so just keep swinging the salami pretty wildly and consistently in order to knock those bats to the very bottom of the screen. They kind of weirdly glitch when you end up hitting them, so just more well-programmed sprites overall for this game. You'll have to jump up to another top portion, work your way continuing to the left, and eventually you'll come to that second shack where you'll find the fuel pellet. Once you have that in your possession, jump up into the air. There's usually a bat waiting for you. It'll kill us, and then we can get back out of the basement and then head back to the right to the very first screen of the game. Climb onto the roof of the house and you'll find your spaceship-like device, which you can now ride up into the air. When traveling upwards, you're going to have to watch out for planes. Hanging out to a little bit to the right of the center of the screen, you'll be able to avoid all the planes coming from the left. Once the sky changes color, though, a plane will come over from the right that you'll have to move a little bit over to the left or just let go of the button altogether. Then another plane will come from the left, and you'll eventually make it into the space area, finding a giant spaceship. Once you find the ship, go inside and buy yourself the space suit. Now that Alf is wearing his spacesuit, you can now fly into the outreaches of space and head towards the moon. This part really makes not too much sense to me, but along the way you're going to have meteorites falling from the sky as well as UFOs or other spaceships flying from the left and right sides of the screen. Hanging out a little bit to the right of the center, once again, you'll be able to avoid almost all the meteorites. In fact, I don't think any meteorite ends up falling directly to that center area, to just to the right of the center screen. But as you're going farther up, the UFOs will come at you a little bit quicker and come at you sooner than the ones earlier in the part of this, so you'll just have to let go of the thruster and kind of float down for just a second so that they'll fly overhead and then continue your upwards journey up into space. Eventually you will come to the crescent moon. Once the moon is completely on screen, its mouth will open. You can actually kind of go towards the mouth or inside the mouth, and then you'll have your other spaceship, and then you can head to Mars, and that's the end of the game. I don't quite understand exactly what is happening with the ending overall here with Alf, but either way, once you're able to make it to the top of the screen, find the moon, who's not too happy to see you, he'll open his mouth, grab the spaceship, and you can sit back and enjoy the ending to Alf on Sega Master System. And there you have it. You'll have the end, you'll have your final score listed there, which is the score I pretty much get every time I end up playing it. After pressing the button once, you'll get the entire list of the credits, and then when you press the button again, you'll go back to the title screen where you can start the game all over again. But with that, that'll wrap up this episode of Play It Through. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a thumbs up or commenting down below. Now if you enjoyed this Sega Master System game, be sure to check out a much better game overall I did a few weeks back, Alex Kidd, for the Sega Master System. And I also need to thank, of course, all the members of my Patreon. Your guys' continued support allows me to keep making videos and keep making all the updates on all the various Cornshaq channels. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.